Think of the Porsche 356 and you think of sun-drenched concours events in Florida, or classic car rallies through rolling mountainous hillsides. The finer places in the motoring world with the rich and famous milling around. But in a quiet business estate near the Cotswolds, you'll find one of the finest examples around. A stunning, white Super 90. Step inside, although stepping inside for someone my height is tricky, and the story continues. Whoa. From the stunning wood-rimmed wheel to the delightful red seats and the little clipping door pockets inside, it's clear that attention to detail has been top-notch. At this point, I'd like to take a moment to apologise for my rather windswept appearance here. The 356 with a removable windscreen is not exactly designed for someone over 6 foot tall. And there was no way we could ever film with the roof up. So this is what you've got, I'm afraid. Anyway, back to the car.
So this was Porsche getting ready for a new decade. The Porsche 356 had been around since the 1940s. But by the time this car came out, we were entering the 1960s. The world was changing. But the 356 still had a little 4-cylinder boxer engine at the back. It was still based on a design from 1947. And it needed a bit of an upgrade. So out went the old 1600 engine, and in came this 1.5 litre boxer called the Super 90. It has, perhaps unsurprisingly, about 90 horsepower when it was new, and about the same amount of torque. Now that sounds like barely anything today, until you remember that the 356 weighs barely more than 940 kilos. Which meant, in 1959, this car could do 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 10 seconds. Go on.
That brings us on to Thornley Kelham, a company based not far from Cirencester, who have built a great reputation for restoring some of the finest cars in the world, and a slightly bad boy one for making some of them a little more powerful than they once were. But that's for another time.
Well, we bought the car in the UK, but it had been imported before that by the short-term owner, UK owner, from California, where it had spent its whole life. And the Cardex said that it was a heron grey car with a red interior. It was cream kind of ivory with a browny interior when we got it. So we decided to take it back to the correct specification as per the Cardex. And as I say, the only thing that isn't original on the car is the engine, because at some point when we bought the car it had a Super 90 engine in it but unstamped casings, so that means at some point that was changed, and that happened quite a lot with the 356s, particularly the Speedsters. But there are a lot of 356s out there which are not matching numbers, and I don't okay, it makes a bit of a difference to the values and stuff, but not that much really. We've taken it back completely to bare metal. The body was good. In fact, I think we only spent about 250 hours on the metal side, which is pretty light. Bare metal, paint guys repaint in the original colours, all done mechanically all the way through. So the engine, because it wasn't the original engine, we thought we had a bit of license to play with it slightly, but only slightly. So we've bored it out to 1720. It's got forged pistons, so we can have a higher compression ratio. It's got Carrillo rods. We haven't had it on a dyno yet. It's only done about 80 miles. And the only upgrade on the interior actually is it's got this beautiful period correct Nardi steering wheel. The other thing we've done is we've taken up to 12 volts, so it's no longer a 6 volt. I think we took the car in summer last year. Normally a full restoration here will be anything between 15 and 24 months, unless it's very complex. But I think this will have taken us about 17 months, 16, 17 months.
After Thornley Kelham's restoration, this car perhaps does not have 90 horsepower. Perhaps you're more talking 120. And it certainly comes on with a bit more verve than it probably did back in the day. And it's all the better for it. Because this car pulls fantastically and sounds wonderful in almost any gear. Now the brakes are a little bit vague, and there's a surprising amount of travel before you actually find actual braking performance, but the gearbox feels modern and easy to get through, although with no power steering, you definitely know that you're driving this car. Listen to that. One of the things I love about this restoration job, everything in here is original, except it's been reskinned. So the leather is new, but the seats are original, the dash is original, and there's just some beautiful little details that were obviously there from the original car. The Porsche writing in gold, which echoes the badging on the back, the Super 90 badging. The dials are beautiful in that old mid-20th century style and clear. You can see everything you need to, and you know what? That's literally everything. I've got some windscreen wipers, I've got a single wing mirror that I can see absolutely nothing out of, and I've got a rear view mirror. And that's all I need. The seat is wonderfully comfortable. I've not got a single seat belt here, but that I didn't have back in the day. And I'm holding on to this absolutely exquisite wood-rimmed steering wheel. It must be the thinnest steering wheel I think I've ever held. The steering balance is fantastic. There's a dead zone in the middle of not an insignificant amount. But once you're past that, it really feels wonderful. You feel a nice amount of weight. At slower speeds and slower corners, it is quite heavy. You feel those 900 kilograms, but it doesn't at any point feel dangerous or on edge. You feel like you could pitch it into the corner and perhaps feel a little bit of understeer as you go through. Obviously it's got tiny little thin tyres, but then because the engine is so there and ready and throttle response is surprisingly sharp for such an old car, it just picks up out of the corners fantastically. I am amazed by the throttle response. I was not expecting that. That is one of the things that has surprised me, and I know it's a modern reconstruction of an old engine. It's got a few little modern trinkets making it better, but it really does pick up in a way that would make some older cars feel a little bit ashamed. So it's an interesting seating position. The accelerator pedal is somewhere in the passenger side, and I have to change my seating position if I want to go anything below third gear. But at the end of the day, none of that matters. We get up to speed and we're cruising along in third and fourth, and there's not many other places I'd rather be. Now they're going to make me stop driving this car at some point. Well, they can try. I might just take it home.
I had no real idea what a restored Porsche 356 would be like. There are some preconceptions about its relationship to the Beetle and the classic fanaticism over air-cooled engines, but I couldn't have told you what it would be like to drive. What I didn't expect was a car that felt thoroughly modern, yet completely engaging and willing to be driven. The restoration on this car has been painstaking, and you feel that when you drive it. The driving position is awkward, but can be forgiven for the way this car makes you feel. The new owner is a very lucky person.